This is Loryn, who has implemented the Uhiwai ceremony that I offer, and she's also worked with me one-to-one over the past like 6 months or so, 5 months. I can't remember when we started, but somewhere around there, yeah. So give a little bit of background about yourself, how old you are, and yeah, we'll go from there.
My name is Loryn and I'm 42 years old. Um, I've been working with Kai for 6-ish months and um, I am part Indigenous, I'm part Inuit, um, and I do have generational trauma on both sides. I was diagnosed with PTSD in my early 20s. Um, and had I've been in and out of therapy since I was 18. Um, and it really didn't bring me super far. It helped me acknowledge that, yes, those things affected me, but it didn't bring me far in talk therapy. I kind of got to a baseline to where I still wanted to be here on the planet, and I was just healed enough that I was open to something like Ho'oponopono. But that's about as far as it brought me.
What propelled you to do this work, to like reach out to try the ceremony, to like learn more about what it could do for you? Like what were you experiencing to be like, let me try this thing?
Um, I had been open to other modalities, and it sounded like something I was looking for because I had been aware for a while that, you know, trauma does live in the body. Um, but I just couldn't fathom any modality that could help me get it out. And I knew that I was kind of at a plateau with that. And that talk therapy wasn't really going to get me far. And I wanted to see what kind of a difference it would make for me if I tried it.
Where did you hit blocks? Like specifically, what shifts were you desiring to see that talk therapy didn't help you achieve?
Interpersonally, um, I could not let people get close to me. I had a really hard time trusting people. Um, I could only let friendships get so deep because I just didn't trust people's intentions.
Mm.
Or if I started out trusting their intention, I wouldn't trust that it would stay the same. Like it could change at any second. Um, so it just makes it hard to have any kind of a relational foundation with that kind of worldview. So my worldview was better than it had been, but it was still on the side of like the world is dark and dangerous, and so are people.
Yeah.
Um, so and I don't know, in a way, I suppose I had my head up above water enough to be able to see. I had just enough perspective to see that there was something out there that could help me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you desired to
a
trust,
foundation,
you desired a foundation to be able to trust. Is that right?
yeah, to
To
be
be
able
able
to trust and to move forward because I felt like it was possible, but nothing I had heard of. It just didn't sound foundational enough. You know what I mean? It didn't sound
right.
like it would reach down to the root of whatever was in my body because I
You-
felt it in my body all the time. Like my
Right.
anxiety level was insane all the time. I couldn't function around it. And I knew enough to where I needed to change that. I needed to change my baseline.
Right. Right. Okay. And since we've been doing this work together, like since your first ceremony, that you implemented, Since the first time you did it and then moving forward, has that shifted? Has that changed? Like, have you seen the changes that you were desiring? Have you found that baseline, that foundation that you were looking for?
I do feel like I have, because PTSD and the experiences that I've had, the trauma that I've experienced, really, um, in a way, it broke me apart from myself. And the way I used to put it to my therapist was like, if you take like a dry erase board and you make a little stick figure and you put a bunch of little lines in it and you cut up the person that way, I felt like that all the time. And so I didn't feel connected to myself. I did not feel like a whole person. It felt very confusing because I felt like I guess my consciousness or my awareness of myself and my experience of the world around me would constantly shift from one piece to a different piece. And I always just wanted to bring them together so that I could have a different worldview and build myself a different foundation.
Mhm.
And since this, I feel so much less shattered. I still have a few to go,
Mhm.
but I think I've healed most of my deepest wounds.
Mhm.
And I feel so much more present, and I don't feel my consciousness going from one piece to a different piece all the time. I don't feel that. Um, I'm not even sure I would really meet the criteria for PTSD anymore, which is nice.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I don't really re-experience things. Like, I remember things sometimes if I try to remember it, if I'm opening up to somebody, but
Mhm.
it actually takes effort. It doesn't just pop up in my brain anymore. Those experiences, those deepest
Right.
traumas don't. It used to be involuntary,
Right. Right. I
and
can.
I feel much more present in my body, and I don't feel like the world is just like this dark and dangerous place anymore. Um,
There's hope.
yeah, much more hope.
There's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Instead of being so fragmented, it's like you more have the bigger picture. Yeah.
Yes, I'm able to um maintain that perspective better. I would have my moments,
Hmm.
but I always knew there was something holding me back,
Right.
that I just couldn't maintain it.
Right.
And it was my defensiveness.
Right. So it's like the baseline was just like like sporadic, like but like yeah, I picture it being like ding 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 ding, like one of those pinball machines.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Was your attention like sporadic? Like almost like ADD? Do you have ADD? Have I ever asked you that?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of, but I think if it makes sense, emotionally had ADD.
Oh yes,
Like,
that
I
makes
was just constantly looking out, out, out,
yes, that makes sense.
and defending, 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 because I just did not trust anything. I didn't trust the fabric of reality. Like,
Hmm.
yeah,
I can see that. So it's like fragmented trust, fragmented intuition, fragmented groundedness, right? So I can see like a baseline that's like, yeah, like how you describe like chopped up. Yeah. So now
yeah.
it's if you were to draw it now, like that stick figure, about what percent of the stick figure would be back together?
I want to say
Halfway.
about 80%,
Is that? Ooh, sassy. That's a
right?
lot. So it's like all almost to the head.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
I
I
can,
don't feel like such a walking bobblehead anymore. Like, I was just so in my head all the time,
and not your
um,
body.
and not my body.
Hmm.
And it's
Mm,
nice to have them so much more joined.
I see. So energetically, things have moved up, and they've right come down and connected you from the bottom, top down. So would you draw it? I'm curious. Would you draw the body connected from the top or from the bottom?
I would just draw like a regular stick figure with the head on top, and like that's the extent of my drawing skills.
Okay, so where would the disconnectedness be still yet?
Oh,
Would it
right
be
now.
head or would it be like in the legs? The 80%, like where's the 80% cut off? I'm just curious.
Oh, I was thinking more of like a level, but I guess I don't know, maybe like around here.
The neck part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just curious what your perspective of what the drawing would look like.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still a disconnectedness, like there's not a full 100%, but there is a connected from the head to the body, right?
Right.
So not as fragmented, there's a connectedness. You have more pieces together versus separated. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so do you have more capacity to trust or to communicate with people who you would like to trust?
Yes. And I feel like I've gained that perspective in that when some kind of a doubt pops up, I'm able to observe it
Mhm.
and be like, oh, that's that old thing.
Mhm.
It's not a thing, it's just an old thing that comes up sometimes. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's unfortunate that I experienced it.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it
Mhm.
anymore when it comes up. So
Yeah.
there's more perspective, and I don't let that doubt or that anxiety lead me in my interactions with people. And
Right.
I do have better perspective and discernment with people.
Mhm. So your anxiety is lessened. Yeah. Less
Much,
anxiety.
much less. Like
That's
I used to drive down the highway and like the craziest things would go through my head, like the car is going to fall apart and I'm going like 60 miles an hour, like things like that. And that's not going to happen, but like your body is like, it's going to happen.
hyper aware. Yeah.
Yes.
Dangers that could possibly happen. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. So there's more safety.
Mm-hmm.
There's more safe thoughts. There's more of that like baseline of like being more here versus worried about what might happen in the future. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, that's what anxiety is from my perspective, from like Indigenous Hawaiian perspective. Anxiety is literally so much worry about the future because of stuff pulling you down in the past. So it's very like fragmented, like pinball kind of like ding 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 ding. Like it's just not centered. It's heavy on the forward into the head, not in the
Mm-hmm.
right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And what have been the most impactful changes? Like, what have you noticed that you really enjoy? Like the changes that, what have been the changes that have brought you the most, like, I think, like satisfaction or like that you like being proud of that this is now changed? Um, whether in your relationships or your marriage or your work environment or just even your purpose, like has there been something that you're like is the most juicy thing that has changed, if that makes sense?
Yes. I definitely have more capacity to handle conflict, and um, I'm able to communicate around it better because I was so blocked that way. Very, very blocked. Like there's a lot of good stuff in here, but it could not come out. And other than that, just really being able to be in my body every day, um, and not have some of the the incidents that stayed in my physical body not be there anymore, I feel such a difference that it's pretty wild. Yeah.
Like a relief.
Yes, it's like I didn't realize that that was even really in there to
Mhm.
that level until it was gone. And it
Right.
feels so much lighter.
Got it.
And it's that lightness and that capacity and the ability to be more vulnerable and communicative that's
Mm.
been probably the most immediate and biggest shift for me so far.
Mhm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like hearing about these kinds of things. I like also like I like I don't mean to like force you to keep like articulating, but I think it's healthy to like notice the shifts and to articulate them with our
Mm,
own words, because then it puts it together like how you said, like sometimes things are fragmented. So when we can articulate,
mhm,
especially the shifts that happen, it makes it real and it helps us
mhm.
realize like how far we have come when we actually do the work that matters, you know.
Absolutely. And it's given me more of a sense of meaning in life too. I think in some of the incidents that I've resolved, it took away my love of being in the world and my playfulness, at least some of it. Um, and and just the ability to even imagine myself in a good future.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Like feel that on a deep level. Cause I could always intellectualize and be like, yeah, sure,
Hmm.
I can do what I want. But like I feel it now. I
Hmm.
connect to it.
Right.
I feel connected to a brighter future for myself.
Right. Instead of just saying the words. Yeah. That makes sense. Um, let's see. And then what was I don't have this written down, but what was can you share some of your experiences? Like not all of them, but perhaps the most impactful Uhiwai ceremony that you did so far. Can you kind of like explain or articulate um, the one that made you feel that perhaps the most relief or the most like the most satisfying is the best word that I can think. Like when it was done or while you were doing it, you could feel like what it felt like and what I guess what it felt like before you did it, what it felt like while you were doing it, and what you felt after. Just like pinpoint one ceremony, and if you can explain that, not in like super detail, but enough to like give somebody an example of your experience with one.
Yes, absolutely. So the last one I did was I resolved an uhiwai with my step grandfather who assaulted me when I was 12. And it was interesting because I knew that that was going to be a big one. And, you know, each uhiwai ceremony feels very different. And I've been noticing as well that there's kind of an experience before too. So it's almost like it knows you're coming. And that one was super ragey. I was feeling very ragey and I actually started to try and then I had to try it another night.
Uh-huh.
Um, you just know, you know the right time for it. Just
Mhm.
trust yourself on that. Um, and so when I went to go do that, it was really surprising because I felt so much stiffness in my neck, my back, and my shoulders, and I could barely move to complete the ceremony, but I completed it. And while I was completing it, it felt like this thick rope that was coming out of like multiple points in my abdomen, a lot under my ribs, interestingly. And um, when I got that out, there was so much peace in my abdomen that I didn't know that I didn't have. Like I just felt the difference afterward. Um,
Mhm.
but I still feel it right now, like so much more relaxed in my
Mhm.
back.
Mhm.
And um I think that's where a lot of my trust came from too. A lot of my trust issues came from that as well,
Mhm.
especially with men.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because for years afterward, I would be completely terrified if I was alone in the room with a man and he was between me and the exit. Like
Mhm.
terrified, unable to like think straight. Like I wouldn't show anything because I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but it
Mhm.
felt like that for years and years. And I've again, therapy can bring you only so far, but it doesn't take it out of your body or your soul, and
Right.
it doesn't restore the peace
Right.
on the most basic foundational level that Ho'oponopono does.
Right. So it's like we had this anxiety all the time around men. Then
Mhm.
that's a lot of energy.
And I couldn't see them. I couldn't see their intentions anymore. I saw dark.
Right. Right. Just like driving in the car and like thinking it's gonna fall apart.
Hmm.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I can understand. Like I resonate because like for anybody who's watching that doesn't know, I have CPTSD, so I can resonate with everything that you said. Um, I too had these very similar issues. And one of them, and my most earliest emotional wounds were not SA. Well, one of them was, but one of my deepest ones was not an SA, and that really wobbled my trust with men, even though it was an SA, and then the SA thing compacted that. So yeah, I get what you're saying, 100%.
Hmm.
And how do you feel now about that person? Like,
Um,
what did you feel about them previously, and what do you feel about them now?
so I've never hated. I've never hated him. Um, I've been very indifferent towards him, and I don't really feel anything when I think of him now, is the difference. So I didn't ever actively hate him. I was very indifferent. And I think some of the things that have happened to him since were karma. But and I was like, wow, sucks for you. But now I don't feel anything. So I
Yeah,
think for me, that's like the ultimate healing for that.
for sure. Yes, I get what you're saying. Um, yes, I get what you're saying. It's the indifferent, even though you feel indifferent about it, it's just you don't want to feel anything about it at all.
Yeah, I don't really think of him.
Right.
I guess if I bring him up in my mind, I'm appalled at how toxic of a person he is and how that can physically exist. But
Yeah.
that's about it. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Same. Same. It's that freedom from feeling indifferent and like all these things to just feeling neutral and not really feeling anything at all.
Hmm. It
Yeah.
doesn't cause any kind of a charge in me.
Right.
Thinking of the incident doesn't cause any kind of a charge.
Right. It's diffused. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a good point because like now that I'm really thinking about this, like as you're speaking, I'm like, this is such a it resonates. It resonates because
Mhm.
and I don't talk about that enough, is how much of that lingering it's not it's like not even an emotion, it's just kind of like a thought. The indifference was
Mhm.
just the thought of them was like, although it was indifferent, I didn't want it.
Right.
And now that
Right.
that's gone, it's like, oh, this is what I wanted. And because it's been gone, I have forgotten about this feeling. And now that you're bringing it up, I'm like, I remember, right, exactly what you're describing. Um,
Yes.
which brings peace back into my body as somebody who like teaches it. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Um, and then let's see. That was pretty good. Like, is there anything you would want somebody to know about what this is, like the ceremony itself, or just like as an Indigenous person, perhaps, because you and I both share that aka, that thread of thought of like I'm half Hawaiian, a little bit of Maori, and I feel a pull to this work. Number one, it stops generational cycles from continuing, which is like the most
Mhm.
important thing to me, to not pass these on to my son. But the I think the other biggest propelling factor for me for doing it is it does bring me closer to Great Mother and Giver of all life, because this work is foundationally hers. Um, you know, these uhiwai, they live in the gut and womb space where emotions live, where the past lives in ancient Hawaiian culture, and the gut and womb space is in direct correlation and energy with Great Mother and Giver of all life. So when we steward this land division system and water division system of the body within ourselves, I feel closer to her. I feel like I'm stewarding her by stewarding me. And instead of like going outside and trying to steward her, or trying to look at her, or trying to like spend time with her, I feel like I have power as an Indigenous person to steward her from within, where, like, wherever I am, even if it's too cold outside, or too hot outside, or too dusty where I can't go outside. It's like it grounds me in her. And with that, I feel more connected to myself because of that bond that I'm creating with her, which nobody talks about her. Nobody really brings her up in any conversation. So for me, it feels like this is my way of paying respect and honor to her as an Indigenous person, not just for myself, but like it's not just like, oh, I love Mother Nature, I love Great Mother and Give Her Life. It's like it literally is the work that brings me
Mhm.
closer to her. So I feel like I'm honoring her life by honoring my own. So if like you want to share anything about like the ceremony, how you feel as an Indigenous person, or just like overall, like, you know, like anything you want to share about that.
Um, so actually that's interesting you say that because right around the time I started working with you, I was starting to research Inuit shamanism, and I definitely have some trauma with the church
Mhm.
as a gay person and probably as an Indigenous person as well. That's a generational issue.
Mhm.
And I think Ho'oponopono allows me to at least start to heal for some of my family members that could not do this, and
Mhm.
it helps me feel like I'm helping my family
Mhm.
in a way that I wouldn't be able to otherwise,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't, and without having to contact people that are not good for me. So one of the Uhiwais was with my father, who's Indigenous. He's half Indigenous, and I feel like that's helping heal him too, and that's kind of a childhood wish.
Mhm.
So that's a big deal for me. And Ho'oponopono has helped me come more to peace with the idea that all beliefs are connected, and we Indigenous uh, are more um, in um, gosh, how would I say it? We're more connected to the earth element
Mhm.
and have a deeper connection there.
Mhm.
And I don't feel like it's at odds with the church. And I don't feel like it's either or. And it's not either or with Inuit shamanism. I don't feel conflicted in any of that anymore.
Mhm.
And that's been so important to me. That was spiritual healing and my relationship with those ideas and and the idea of Mother Earth, Divine Mother, and Divine Father, and Kanaloa, and however you want to frame it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's helped tie it together and heal it for me, and that's huge for my foundation.
Mhm.
Absolutely crucial to my foundation.
Same. Yeah, and we do have that in common of like religious backgrounds, um, organized religion backgrounds. Well, I do.
Hmm.
Like it just I was lucky to grow up with both Indigenous teachings and church teachings. So I had the knowledge of God and I had the knowledge of the Great Mother and Giver of all life. And then to hear the world separate them so much, you have to pick one over the other. It was like in my head, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, because I was taught that they're meant to be married.
Right. And as an
Uh,
Indigenous person, I imagine that would just like tear you up
it
because
did.
it's so inherent.
It was the weirdest thing. It grounded me and it centered me, but at the same time, going to church, it made me question why they weren't talking about her,
Hmm.
why she wasn't in any conversation, why she was just kind of like this, like doesn't exist. And it was like in the church that I grew up in, it was like there is a heavenly mother, but still it's like, oh, you can't talk about her, we know nothing about her, we can't say, we don't even know her name and all these things. And it was like in Hawaiian culture, it's like, oh, but her name is this. And like she's this beautiful being and mother and energy. And I feel like this work with the Uhiwai and the whole Ho'oponopono, this marriage of the gut to the brain, this marriage of emotions with intelligence, this marriage of your mind and spirit through your body, it's very like you said, like I needed it, like I needed it, like you needed it, I needed it. Like I resonate because I'm like I did need it because it was part of me.
Yes.
And to feel like I had to pick one or the other, or like that she didn't exist and I had to just believe in one thing, it just didn't sit right with me. And then this work brought it all together inside of my own body. And that's
Hmm.
what brought me to a completeness and groundedness and centeredness that I feel now. So like I do resonate
Hmm.
with
Because
what
at
you.
one point I even was going to like a Universalist Unitarian church because they picked like some meaningful thing from a lot of different practices, and even then it just felt so hollow. Like there
Mhm.
was something super missing, and it's just not, it just didn't fit. So
Yeah,
this was
big.
that. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a keystone piece.
yes. It's a very holistic. For anybody watching, like Ho'oponopono is the definition, technically, is like to make right. But the oral definition is to realign the mind, body, and spirit, which is the brain, heart, and gut. So you're realigning these energies inside of yourself to flow properly. And the flow of this energy is the Holy Spirit, spirit, whatever you want to call him. But in ancient Hawaiian culture, he is the Holy Spirit. Um, Pre-missionaries. So if anybody's watching, they're like, how? Pre-missionaries. Hawaiians, my people, believed in the great oneness of all things, which is mind, body, and spirit. That's the great oneness, is this eel, great hawk spirit. And the realigning of the energies inside of ourselves creates this oneness, creates this eel energy, the I standing for like the brain and God, the O standing for great mother and giver of all life. And then the togetherness of them, the word is the body, which represents the man who walks with rainbows, who in like religious terms is Jesus Christ. And I feel like even that word can be triggering for people. So I like to use like lono, which means the enlightened one in old Hawaiian culture. You can use Yeshua, but like even if you're not religious, like even just if you can look at these things as just energies, because that's really what they are in the body.
Hmm.
Changes the game, man. Changes the game. It really explains everything that we're missing. Great mother's presence, especially especially for women, where we don't, our health and our mental health and our emotional health gets overlooked, and then they're like, oh, just go to therapy, or oh, just take these medications, and it's like Yeah, this isn't working. Like I need something deeper.
Yeah.
So yeah, I resonate. So if you're looking for, if somebody like watching is looking for this, like don't be afraid that it's this like, oh, she's gonna indoctrinate me. It's like, no, this is an energy practice. And then Loryn is proof that like, it's not an indoctrination. It's just
No.
truth. It's just this truth of energy and who really exists in the world. And it's a wholeness. It's a holistic wholeness. Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, thank you for sharing. Do you have anything else to share, or are you good?
Just don't be scared to try it. Listen to your intuition. Believe your experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you coming on today. Um, give it up for Loryn. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And